Hey English 112, it's Miss Brewer here for your weekly lecture video. I am in Moodle and I have week 2 opened up, so you may want to go ahead and do the same so that you can follow along with me as I go through our assignments and what we're working on this week. So last week you guys read your first week of poetry. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you noticed maybe some themes that stood out to you and that might be important to you, or social issues that you might want to look into as we continue on with our course. You'll notice that I have put some scholarly articles in for each week. Now, the scholarly articles, you do not have to read every single one of them. These are resources that I am providing you because you will need to have at least 2 scholarly articles included in your literary analysis essay. So just be advised that, like, if you really enjoyed the poem by Emily Dickinson, you may want to go ahead and read that article now so you're prepared for later. If you really enjoyed Langston Hughes, same thing. So you don't need to read all of them, okay? You just pick one of the articles that matched the poems that stood out to you the most, okay? So here in week 2, you're going to see that we have a new poetry assignment. This is the second batch of poems that you will read. Once again, please utilize my, my Understanding Poetry PowerPoint from last week to help you figure out how to mark up your poems and things like that. You will also participate in your first discussion forum on poetry. So I have some poetry discussion responses here. Jude, get over here, please. Sorry. I have some poetry discussion responses, and these are questions that are available for you to create your initial discussion response for the discussion forum this week. So you want to kind of use these questions to guide you and to create your initial response. Do be sure that you identify the theme for the poem that you're responding to. Okay, so that last little section, so what? A theme statement, write yourself a theme statement, okay? The theme of this poem is what? What is the author trying to say about society? And include that in your initial response, okay? So that's super important. So you'll participate in the discussion forum this week, and what that means is you will need to select one poem from last week, okay? So one poem from the first batch of poems, and you are going to use the questions in the poetry discussion response to create your reply, your initial response. Your initial response is due by Thursday at 11:55 p.m., okay? So make sure that you get that put in. And then you will respond to 2 peers about their poems. Try to pick peers that have selected a poem that's different than yours, so you get different takes on all of the poems that you read. Your initial response is worth 50 points, and then your 2 peer responses are worth 25 points each. Make sure that those discussion responses are substantial, and I go over that if you go to the course resources. You'll see a note about discussion forum grading, and that tells you how I'm going to grade your discussion forums. A substantial reply is super important. Make sure you are promoting the conversation, moving it forward, asking questions, providing different examples or a different opinion. Okay, so that's super important. Not saying, yes, I agree with you, that was a great response, good job. That's not what we're looking for in a response. So your journal for this week will be about this week's poems, okay? So basically, my suggestion to you is participate in the discussion forum first. Write your initial response for your discussion forum first this week, because that is going to be the poetry from last week, okay? Then you can read this week's poems and complete your journal, okay? So journal 3 is about this week's poems, all right? So that's also super important. Make sure that you're aware of that. Again, I'm providing you with scholarly articles for the authors for this week. You are not required to read all of these articles, but if there is a poem that stands out to you from this week, you might want to go ahead and read that article. I highly suggest with the scholarly article, if you are going to utilize it, that you download it and save it to your computer. And I suggest, if you have the ability, print it out so that you can mark it up. You can annotate it. You can highlight. You can pick certain things that stand out to you, okay, that's going to help you later on in your literary analysis of these poems. So that's my suggestion, is just to do that if you have the ability to do that, okay? If you don't have the ability to print it out, still save it to your computer, and then as you're reading it, make sure you're taking some notes and you're noting page numbers from the article and what stands out to you, okay? You will need to use page numbers when you write your literary analysis. The only way you're going to get those accurate page numbers is by downloading that PDF so you can see the accurate page numbers from those articles. So that's really super important, okay? So this week you have a new batch of poems to read. You have a discussion forum on last week's poems and a journal on this week's poems. Okay, your attendance assignment for this week. I want you to go back to the syllabus. I want you to go back to the syllabus, and I want you in your attendance assignment in Moodle to explain to me in your own words, what is my late policy for assignments? All right, so that's what I'm looking for your attendance assignment. Go back to the syllabus, look at the late work policy, and then tell me, don't copy and paste it. I want you to write in your own words, what is my late work policy? And there are some special little notes in there about when certain things are accepted and not accepted. So make sure that you go ahead and get that submitted so that you are counted as present for this week. As usual, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I also highly encourage you, if you have questions, to log on to my virtual office hours. I'm available for you guys an hour and a half, 2 days a week, and an hour, 2 days a week. I have morning and I have afternoon available. So make sure you check that out if you need clarification or instant question answering or anything like that. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the poems. I hope that you're looking for themes that are similar with some of the poems, because those are the connections that we're going to be making as we move forward. Have a great week.